Hi, Church. Pastor Jeff here with another Trinity check-in, along with one of my friends. Too many of these videos recently have been about our building hopes. No, I guess I can't say too many. You know, those have been good too and important. However, my aim with every one of these videos is that something in it pulls you toward God. And so today, I'm starting with that, and I want to share with you a journey I've been on lately. I will say stick around to the end, because I do have a couple of announcements on kind of time-limited things. So anyway, stick around to the end for that. First, though, this. So for all of my life, one part of my identity has been that I can kill anything. I do not have a green thumb, or at least I didn't used to have a green thumb. Whether it be plants outside in a place I moved into, you know, as a pastor, you know, we live in a lot of parsonages, houses owned by the church, and oftentimes the previous pastor would be a gardener, and then I'd move in. Not so much. Hey, I got some really good tomatoes from one of my predecessors, but the tomato plants did not survive long. But after a series, I think it was the last election cycle, so 2 years ago, the midterm elections, we did a series that centered around the parable of the seeds. And in every one of the sermons, I talked about my black thumb. And by the end of the series, I started to hate that about myself. I'm like, I wish I weren't the kind of person who killed everything. And so, since then, I've been on a journey of trying to learn, of learning about plants, because that learning is kind of how my brain works, and experimenting too. And I've been on a journey with this one here in particular that I want to share with you. Now, everything I'm about to say is really about plants, but listen carefully, because I think every bit of it applies to our own spiritual journey and our walk with God too. And I'm not going to spell it out for you. You got to do that for yourself, okay? So listen, but I'm intending layers with everything I say. So you've heard something about my journey. This is a droop head tufted air plant. Now, I will fully admit that I bought it partly because I thought the name was hilarious. There was one that was actually given for a funeral that we had at church, and everybody was standing around saying, "What a beautiful plant. I don't think I've ever seen one. What's it called?" And I used AI. I used AI on my phone to identify the plant, and then it was a funeral, right? I almost laughed out loud, a little too loud, when I saw the name droop head tufted air plant, and then I told it to my kids, and they really laughed at it, and we ended up having to get one. Now, you should know it's not actually an air plant. Air plants are a thing, and this isn't one. It's actually a bromelade, a tropical plant that's related to the pineapple, which, coincidentally, I also have in the background, but that one's not for growing, that one's for eating. Well, when I first got it, came in the mail. That was the only place I could find this specific one this time of year. I repotted it into a nice pot, went down to Campbell's nursery, got that and some soil. Probably not the most optimal soil, but hey, I'm still learning. I didn't know that at the time. And it was great, because as I watched it every day, this is our dinner table sitting at right here. So every day at dinner, I'd have a good view of it in the nice sunny window, because they like sun. And I could start to notice the signs, like when the ends of the leaves started to get curly or just, I don't know, somehow look less vibrant. You can tell that it's in need of water. And I have an app that's been helping tell me when to water, but the app hasn't really been helping, to be honest. It's more learning those signs. And then I'd water it, and then I'd see that. But you know what? They never looked as healthy as I sometimes see on other plants. So I started learning. I started learning more about droop head tufted air plants, and learned that part of what they do is that they drink water through the little bits, through the little crevices that you see in the middle. So they get some water through the roots and through the soil, but not as much as many plants do. And that when you water them, you want to make sure the water goes to the part of it where it can receive it the best. And so I started pouring the water on top, and realized that when I poured it that way, each one of these little crevices kind of feeds to the next. It's like a little cascading waterfall. In fact, it's really fascinating to watch the water go down and, you know, make it into all the nooks and crannies and crevices. Then I put a little water in the soil too, because it also needs that. It's just not the primary way, as I learned. And so that alone was fascinating. And I suppose that some part of me started to get attached. So you might imagine that after it started to look like this on the top, I had feelings. Now, don't want to say this is like major grief here, but a little bit of disappointment, right? And as you can see, let me pick up the camera here. As you can see, the top of it is not looking very healthy at all. What I learned, however, is that droop-head tufted air plants only bloom once. However, as they do, pups form. New plants form. And at first I thought to myself, but there's nothing else growing. It's just empty soil around it. You know, I'd seen other plants where a shoot comes up off to the side, but that's not happening. And then I realized it. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to really tell this on the video. I can in person. But in 3 or 4 places around here, even with the rest of the plant beginning to look unhealthy and dying, there are pups growing within it. Here's another one over here, if you're able to see. And so my journey with this plant continues this weekend because they're just about the right size, from what I learned online, to be cut off. But they do have to be cut off. Sometimes growth and new life doesn't just happen. It doesn't just pop up to the side. Sometimes growth and new life involves something sharp. Sometimes it involves letting go of something old so that we have room for something new to be repotted and to take new life, new form in our life. If I didn't do that, I'll bet these pups wouldn't survive long. However, through difficulty, there's a chance that I could have 4 of these things blooming soon. And so it's amazing that even though we don't ask, even though we don't always design our journey, even though we don't always know what we're getting into when we go online and buy a droop-head tufted air plant, the journey takes us unexpected places and leads to blessings that we didn't see coming. So I'm kind of looking forward to this weekend. Now, it's going to be hard because I don't know how to cut it. You know, again, I'm going to spend some time on YouTube first. That'll probably help. In fact, maybe there's another spiritual lesson, one that I didn't plan in the video here. It's just spontaneous, but sometimes going to others is part of that journey too. You know, like tradition, like we talked about in last Sunday's sermon. We get something from all the smart people who've come before us, the faithful people who've come before us. But it's amazing the kind of benefits that we can reap. Now, I don't want to compare myself to God because, unlike God, I still have no clue what I'm doing here with this plant. But from the plant's point of view, it just knows the water comes, and it always has. The plant doesn't know what's about to happen to it. You know, it doesn't have a brain. It can't understand everything that's about to come. Yet, it has somebody watching over it. Now, again, I hesitate to compare myself to God because I don't really know what I'm doing, yet God does. But perhaps there's another lesson there, that we don't always understand some of the difficulties that we face. And it's not that God intends every difficulty that our life faces, but I'm a firm believer that God never wastes the opportunity. That even the bad things that happen in this life by pure chance become opportunities for growth and for new life to form. Now, I've been watching over a couple of other plants at the church too. So if you're walking around the gathering area, there's a couple of peace lilies. One of them's over by the office, and it's in a similar place actually. I kind of thought I'd messed it up. I thought it was dying, and the leaves around it on the edges look just terrible right now. Someone in the office even said to me today, "Hey Jeff, you better look at that plant. It doesn't look like it's doing so hot." But if you look in the middle, once again, you see new life coming up. But you have to have eyes to see. You have to look closely. You have to understand how it works to see that kind of thing going on. Now, I'll bet you I end up pruning those old leaves before Sunday comes. But you can take a look if you want. It's the one that's over by the TV and the gathering area over by the office door. Okay, so there's my plant journey. Now, I know some of you have been doing this all your life, and I would welcome your tips because, like I say, I don't know what I'm doing, and I would love to learn from you all, too. In the meantime, I do have 2 announcement kind of things I want to share with you. Okay, this election season, we are going to be doing a special series. It's actually a movement between a whole bunch of mostly United Methodist churches called Do Unto Others. And the line that kind of sold it to me was, wouldn't it be great if for every political yard sign we see, politics are important. It's important to support a candidate that you believe in. However, wouldn't it be great if for every political yard sign we saw, we also saw a yard sign that was about respecting one another, about being kind to your neighbor, about getting along, about living out the Christian faith. And that's kind of the inspiration. There's going to be a sermon series as we get closer to election time. However, we have t-shirts that you can order, and those have to be ordered now for them to be in time. So if you like, they're in the link that's in the email where this video goes out, or I'll put it wherever I can. YouTube won't let me put it in the comments just yet, but we'll have it around, and it's on our website too. Order a t-shirt. There's only 12 days left, and we want to hit our goal of having a whole bunch of these shirts walking around as the series goes on. So I hope you will do that. They're pretty cool looking t-shirts too. They've got the Do Unto Others logo on the front and the Trinity logo on the back. We need more Trinity shirts in general. The other thing I want to say is that we have 2 weeks left in the Basics Sermon Series, The Heart of Christianity and Methodism. It's been good. You know, I write my sermons in advance, and I actually wrote the last one just this morning, and it's going to go out with a bang. It's going to be good, I think. A lot of you who are in growth groups have said to me, boy, these would be great for growth group questions and for our discussions in our growth groups. But growth groups haven't started yet for the year. Well, the first 5 weeks of growth groups are going to be the basic series. I've made the decision. That's what we're going to do. And that comes with an extra benefit too. If any of you aren't in a growth group, all you do is make a 6-week commitment. Now, some choose to keep going longer than that, but all we ask is a 6 weeks commitment. So if you make a 6-week commitment to start this fall, that means the first 5 weeks will be extra good going into the basic series and those parts of the faith that we can all be stronger in. So if you are interested in that, there is more information that you can find on our website and you'll be hearing about on upcoming Sundays, and I hope you will do so, because those groups like that, when you grow in faith around other people, what it does is it solves the friend problem. Everyone has trouble making friends as adults. Well, some of us had trouble making friends as kids too. And there's something about the kind of friends you make around things of faith that are different, that are deeper, that are special in a different way that's kind of difficult to describe. And I want you all to experience that too. All right, send me your plant tips or whatever this happened to mean to you. I'll bet God said something to you through my journey of my description that I didn't even see coming, and I would love to hear it. In the meantime, I hope you stay cool and have a good rest of the week, and I will see you on Sunday, if not sooner.